Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. Today's video shares the explanation for the 20th hexagram in I-Ching called Contemplation. So the original meaning of this hexagram is people look up into the tree and see birds' migration patterns or behavior changes so that they can predict the climate or weather change. So its original meaning is observation, but the derived meaning is actually like looking up to somebody with high respect. The description for the hexagram is actually it used the whole ancient sacrifice process. So the entire sacrifice process is super highly spiritual and religious. So people incense themselves, take a bath, wash their hands, get themselves all cleaned before they do the following sacrifice steps to gods or spirits. The description actually says that when this performer for the sacrifice event, when they're at the stage of washing their hands, without even finishing this particular step, they already earn the respect of the observers in the crowd. They don't even need to continue for the afterwards steps. So that showcased the importance of high moral ground or high value for somebody who's being observed. And that meaning can also be seen from the image of this hexagram. So first of all, this external triagram is wind and the internal triagram is ground or the earth. So wind is invisible. We can only see it through things it moves like a tree waving in the windy weather, right? So that's the same with our invisible moral or value system versus human behavior and action, which is kind of a visible way of showing your inner invisible values. So that's a way to emphasize the importance of having higher moral grounds. And another thing is this is one of the 12 kind of gradual time-based hexagram, meaning that remember the 19th one, it's exactly upside down. They're kind of a special relationship because the 19th hexagram, the bottom four lines are all yang and the top two lines are yin. It's representing springtime. Yang is growing more and yin is fading away. This is exactly the opposite, like the fall time. Yin is getting stronger and stronger, and the top yang is fading away. It's heading to a colder and more yin energy climate. So if you were the high above people, how would you feel about it, right? You might feel a little threatened. Your position will eventually be pushed away by the strong cluster of yin energy. So what should you do in that situation? It also echoes the importance of having high moral grounds. That's how you can preserve and navigate through this difficult transitional period. So that's the overall meaning of this contemplation hexagram. And diving into individual lines, I mean, we all know the lines are representing like from low positional power to high positional power, from timing wise from the initial stage to the ending stage. So if you want to connect that to that overall hexagram's meaning, is saying a person's how far your mind can fly, how broad your viewpoint is versus how narrow it is, how elevated versus low. That all makes a difference in your situational outcome. So the initial one is like you're quite immature, lack of experience, kind of having like a folly, youthful naivety to you, like a child. So because of this inexperience and lack of broadened exposure with life experience, you have limitations in your situation. So if you land on this one as your prediction result, the guidance you need to follow is that depending on your role in the situation. If you're just a common participant or like a lower level person, that's neutral. It's because you're not required to have this highly elevated viewpoint to give advice. However, if you happen to be the person in charge or need to make a decision, that will give you a lot of harm and negativity because your limited lower level viewpoint will lead this situation to a kind of a disastrous outcome. So that's why if you land on this one, even though you decide to do something, do it with very small scaled or go somewhere close to yourself, right? Do not expand into a big production or big scale adventure because that will lead to failure due to the limited viewpoint and lack of experience. Moving on to the second one, this line description is actually saying in the ancient time, females in Chinese society has limitations, right? You don't have the same rights as male to go out, to venture out, to experience the world. It's saying it's like a girl peeking through their home door to look through the door to see the outside world. It symbolizes that in this case you have a very limited viewpoint. You might not see the whole thing, all different perspectives holistically. You have very limited, narrow viewpoint. Because of that, it might not be super favorable either. But the wisdom here is you need to work on elevating your constrained view so that you can grow in the future. Moving on to the third line. This is a typical third position. It's transitional. It's moving from the internal triagram to the external triagram. So it's saying that you need to trust your own judgment. You need to observe and be careful. Kind of assess your situation, the pros and cons, before you decide on a certain path. But once you decide, please go straight ahead, but don't rush into decision. Observe your situation, then assess. It's kind of a neutral one. It's just more emphasizing the importance of not rushing into something. Take your time, observe, learn, before you make a judgment call. The fourth one is, it's kind of the beginning stage of this external triagram, right? It can also be viewed as kind of the leader for this whole cluster of yin group, trying to erode away the yang power on top. So if you're in that situation, what would you do? This person is able to observe higher morals, higher wisdom. You still have something to learn from the two young guys on top. And because of that humbleness, this person is able to in turn earn a lot of respect from people above it as well. So because of his humble observation attitude, it's able to earn respect and very kind of treat you like a VIP person. But there's like a little small connotation in this one, because even though you're being treated with high regard, you're also being deep down considered a threat because you're leader of this yin cluster trying to erode away my power. So this young guy, the fifth position in charge, like a king, he's not really going to give you real power to delegate, to give you potential, kind of create a risk to threaten my own authority. So even though I treat you with nicety, a lot of respect and taking care of you, give you reputation and fame, in reality, I'm very careful of letting go the real power towards you. So that's just kind of a hinted meaning for this fourth line, but overall it's a good one. You're going to be treated nice. You're going to be treated with respect. Moving to the fifth one, this is a young one, kind of like really need to learn the essence of the overall hexagram's meaning, because if I don't practice moral ground, I'm at risk. I'm being pushed away. So it's emphasizing the importance of self-reflection. I need to scrutinize myself as a king before I scrutinize the people I rule over. Because if I'm a good king with good high moral ground, my the commoners or people living in my kingdom will have also reflect a higher moral ground and better behavior. So before I judge other people, I need to judge myself. If they're misbehaving, I need to look at myself introspectively and see what am I doing wrong to cause it versus what I could do differently to prevent it. So this one is really talking about self-reflection, contemplation, right? It's a close connection to the overall hexagram's meaning. Last but not least is the sixth line. This is the one at the ending stage of a situation. It's like you cannot change the way of nature. That just, it goes in cycles, right? I know eventually my power will be gone. I will be replaced. How am I gonna have this introspection of learning, maintaining my high moral ground so that I can go through this difficult transitional period with ease? The objective environment will stay the same, but I can change how my mind act to live with it or work with it more cohesively. And how I adapt to this transitional time is by introspection, it's by developing insight. It's kind of the same flavor of the fifth one. It's about self-reflection and contemplate, looking back my whole life experience and what I can learn to continue for the positive morality stuff. So that's the meaning of it. But honestly, if you land on this one, it means this thing will not stay the same. It will change. You will experience quite a bit of change, but just be prepared mentally to embrace the change. So that's the meaning of this whole contemplation hexagram. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.